You've probably noticed that we have a light meeting this time. We have one speaker, and we are going to talk about the mean stack, which means about MongoDB, ExpressJS, AngularJS, and NodeJS, and the marriage of them all. We are going to hold this meeting in English because our speaker is going to speak in English. And I would like to know your impression about having our meetings in English. So if during the break or whatsoever, I'm going to sit over there. So just please approach to me and talk to me. I don't bite. I want to make these meetings just as suitable and as comfortable for you as it could be. So this is the first thing. The second thing is the idea about the next meeting that I have in my mind, and I want to know if you are fine with it, is to have a meetup totally with lightning talks. So I would need like 10 speakers to speak about their projects with AngularJS, what they use AngularJS for, in what kind of project, how can it be helpful, or maybe why they don't use AngularJS in certain projects. So I would very much appreciate your engagement and your communication with me. Really. Especially that it's Christmas time, and I would consider it as a very, very beautiful gift. And as far as gifts are concerned, some of you have already received the stickers of our ng-poznan meetup. So for those of you who don't, they are lying there. And I have them with me as well. So if you long for one, just come and get it. The stickers and the banner we have was given to us as a Christmas gift from Brisk, my company. I hope you're going to enjoy it. And now, without further ado, let me present to you David Sorrentino, our speaker. I hope you will have a lot of questions to him.
Hello guys. Last time it was like during my first communion. So thanks a lot to Joanna and thanks to ng-poznan. I'm very happy about these meetings. You probably don't know, but the last year I tried with some other guys to organize something similar. We failed. We definitely put less effort than Joanna and company are, and so we got definitely worse results. So I'm very happy about that. Speaking about serious stuff, today I'm going to present you an overall about Min, which is a full JavaScript development stack. How many of you have ever heard about it? Alright. How many of you are using it or just used it in your career? Okay, good. I really like you. Alright, no, I like you all. Okay, so let's start. A few boring words about me. I usually don't like to speak about myself, so you can read some info here. I just want to say that I'm very anxious about Meet.io. I'm going to tell you why during this presentation. I work for a company which is providing web services, which is called Visual Studio, and in this very moment I'm stable in Poznan. So if you guys want to meet me for a coffee or something, I'm actually working in Coworkiness, which is a new co-working space that just opened in Garpada. Okay, let's start. Okay, so here we are going to have a quick agenda of the presentation. There's going to be an introduction about the stack itself, of course. Then we're going to deepen a little bit some theory about each one of the components. There are 4 main components in the stack. Then some personal reasons why in my company we decided to start using Min, and we are keeping on with that. Then we are going to speak a little bit about stack organization, which can be a headache, so we will try to give some useful suggestions in order to avoid that. Then there is going to be a quick, let's say, practice session in which I'm going to show you how an application in Min is organized, and also some CRUD operations with resources, so create, read, update, and delete. Then we will come back to pitfalls and disadvantages, which according to me it's a very interesting slide. There will be some boring conclusions and then questions and answer sessions. If you guys cannot hold your questions during the presentation, just like whistle me or just wave or something, I will gladly stop and listen to them and try to answer if I can. Alright, let's start. Okay, so this is introduction about Min. This is, of course, the definition is a full JavaScript stack. Here it says that simplifies and accelerates the development, but well, this is not always true, of course, as for every stack. This happens when there are no problems. This stack is composed of 4 different components. Let's say 4 main components, and there is MongoDB, which is a database, like it's NoSQL database. Of course, you heard about that, right? Haven't you? Okay. Yeah. And then there is ExpressJS, which is a middleware on NodeJS. Then there is AngularJS. You heard of it? No. Yeah, of course. And then NodeJS. Well, basically, a real perspective of how an application looks is pretty different, because there are not only 4 components, but I don't know, in average 20, 30 for average size application, but 4 are the main ones. Of course, all these components are managed, and then, okay, if you don't want to have headaches, thanks to Grunt or Gulp, at your choice, I'm going to show you something about that later. Okay, let's start with the database, which is the backbone of the stack, let's say. This is maybe the most important part, and it is also what differs a lot from other stacks. Okay, so MongoDB is a NoSQL database. It means that it's not relational, of course, and it's document-oriented. Well, what does it mean? It means that the target of the whole database is documents. Well, of course. So imagine relational databases which have a table for, I don't know, let's speak about a library. So there is a table for titles, a table for authors, there is a table for books, right? And then this information is mashed together in a join, for example, and then you get a book which has an author with a title and other properties. Well, in MongoDB the approach is totally different. There is one document which is called book. This document has got properties, so has got already inside title, author, and other properties. Here there is a stupid example about a game. But let's deepen a little bit here the features of this first component of Min. About the document-oriented storage. Okay, let's say that the target is documents, yes, but what exactly? Well, some kind of JSON. Of course, you know about JSON. MongoDB uses BSON, which stands for binary JSON. Basically, the structure is the same as for JSON, but everything, of course, is in binary code. Plus, together with the content of a JSON, there are some indexes, primary and secondary, and then there is the length, which helps in scanning operations, for example, and also in evaluating the size of the document. Then another characteristic is that it's full index support. Well, this is not a novelty, like almost all the databases are, and also Mongo is, of course. So it has primary and secondary indexes, and mostly they work the same as for MySQL. So the third one, okay, let's speak about something sweet here, which is replication. Okay, basically the MongoDB database is organized in replica sets. A replica set is, let's say, a number of instances, okay, of the same database, and there is a primary replica and all the others are secondary. The primary is taking care of read and write, of course, but when something happens to it, then there is some kind of form of election where a secondary becomes a primary and starts serving like in read and write. The secondary are always consistent with the primary. So because there is some kind of form of smart built-in system that is taking care of replication, data replication. This is happening immediately in real time, and so whatever gets written in the primary, immediately you can read it from the secondary. Sometimes it happens that you can read from the secondaries, even if the primary is still standing, but you never write on secondaries. This, of course, ensures very high availability. It means that, you know, earthquakes, eruptions, more or less, there will be always a replica standing, which is very important for databases. Another characteristic is the sharding, the auto-sharding. Okay. Here it's auto, we're going to speak about that later. But let's speak a second about the sharding. Shard, for shard, is meant, okay, a portion of the database. So database contains a lot of data. These data are divided in portions, which are called shards. This is very important for scalability purposes. The shards are divided according to the shard key. The shard key can be set automatically. That's why I wrote here auto-sharding, because MongoDB provides already a mechanism of auto-sharding, but the developer can totally decide the shard key, and this shard key has influences about the distribution of read and writes along all the database, and also the number of shards that are hit during a query, and also the chunk size. Now, a chunk is a bunch of data which share the same shard key, basically. So MongoDB takes all the data with the same shard key and puts them together. So why it's good to think about a good shard key management? Because you must take care of equal distribution of the read and writes over the whole database, and also about the chunk size. You don't want to have jumbo chunks, because then, you know, they are hard to be allocated here and there among the shards, and this will make your application suffer, basically. You can start without the sharding, of course, at the beginning, but then, you know, when you want to hit production with your application, it's good to start thinking about a good shard keys. So, other characteristics is rich document-based queries. It means that you can query by field, you can query by regular expression, you can query by ranges. There's also the possibility to query, like to store geographical data, 2D data, and then you can query by proximity. For example, I want to know what it's close to here or close to that. Actually, this is used by Foursquare. Okay, fast in place updates is also something very sweet and interesting to me. It means that every time you make an update, you're not forced to copy the entire document and then change it, update it, and then restore it again, because this costs a lot in terms of read and write, but you can just update a small portion of it. This is sweet, this is great. So think about, I don't know, you have to perform an increment in a document. You don't have to get the document and then update it and then send it back to the DB for storing it. This is painful. You just send the increment to the database, and this is going to be performed directly on that property. Plus, another sweet thing in this point is that all the writing operations in MongoDB are lazy. Lazy means that they usually perform after 2-3 seconds. So it means that if you make 1000 updates in 1 second, they are going to be performed with one single write. So all this 1000 go, like with this fast in place update, and then they are written in the database only once and with one single operation. This is great according to me. Then you have one.
Sorry.
Yes.
Question about the updates.
Yes.
So let's say you made 1000 updates in a second and the application crashed. Will this be restored?
No, okay, we will get to it in the disadvantages section. Okay, you're of course speaking about a transactional system.
Yeah.
Yes, we will definitely touch this, ring this bell. That's a good question. Okay, let's focus now on what is cool, then we will focus on what is not cool. Okay, speaking about MapReduce, well, this is some kind of form of data aggregation. It's very similar to the group by in the relational databases. Basically, you can query the database and you can put data together somehow according to some particular order. This is more powerful actually, because you can write two functions, a map function and a reduce function. You can totally attach these functions to the query. So you query the database and then you get this data, you map the data as you do what you want in these functions, then you reduce the data, doing what you do with this function, and then you get the result. This is sweet. So, gridfs. MongoDB also works as a file system. Weird to know, but yes. And you can store files of any size, basically, which is great. And all the files are divided in chunks, and these chunks are like stored in documents, and then they are distributed equally among all the shards and among all the replicas, I support. So this is also widely used, but I frankly never use it. Like I prefer buckets, which are a bit slower. But okay, never mind. And the last one is server-side JavaScript execution. Basically, you can attach to a document function or a set of functions or methods, which is great. Basically, you can have your document self-managing itself, self-managing or just doing something cool. So you extract a document for the database, and then you say, okay, now do this and do that. And also, you can send JavaScript code to the database. Maybe you are, writing a Java application. You don't want to, you don't know where to run the JavaScript code for querying the database or for performing the operation. You just send directly the JavaScript, and the database is going to evaluate this JavaScript and execute it. Okay, enough. This is the longest slide, guys. Don't worry. Okay, let's speak about Express, which is a middleware on the top of NodeJS. It's very light, it's minimalized, it's written here, so it doesn't trouble you, but it offers you a lot. First of all, I would like to underline that it's very thin layer, as I wrote in white, because you almost don't feel it. Now, this is arguable, like not everybody thinks the same as I do, but word is nice because it's various. This is some short list of the features that it offers. It offers much more than this. We'll not read them all. And also the community built already in the past years many utilities and methods, middlewares which you can use in turn on the top of Express. And this will make everything so fast, reliable, and easy that you will never live without once you try. Okay. Okay. About Angular, I really love this sentence that you can find on the official website. This definition. course, we all know well Angular, but you know, we underline important things that you can extend HTML. And it's cool, it's fast, it's clean, and it offers you a lot of powers, let's say, superpowers. Some of them are the two-way data binding, which once you try, of course, you never stop using, and dependency injection, which some people like, some people don't, but it's cool for me, it's very nice, and clean way to organize your project. And then directive filter services and templates. We're already giving a look at some of them during the past meetings. And so last but not least, there is NodeJS, which is taking care of the backend side. It's full JavaScript. It's based on the top of Chrome's JavaScript runtime, so it's very fast and well optimized. Of course, this doesn't mean that the code you write on it is optimized. You must take care of it. What to say about Node is that it's event-driven, so it's asynchronous, and it's not blocking from the I/O point of view. So this means that, well, there is like a Zen proverb about Node that says that everything runs in parallel except your code. So basically, Node is single-threaded application, so you always have control of it, but what you write now, you don't know when it will get executed, because everything is asynchronous. It works with callbacks mostly. This provides a lot of performance, guys. This is crazy. I was scrolling a little bit the web. I read that a crazy guy performed around 1 million parallel requests with it, which occupied around 16 gigabytes on the server, but everything worked smoothly with a nice latency time. So this is impressive. I'm every day more impressed about the performance of this tool. Also, we must say that since it's single-threaded, it can run across multiple devices. It's very easy to be scaled. So you can run it on I don't know, 1 thread, 10 threads on the same machine, multiple machines, wherever in the world. It's cool. And also, as I said, the code is optimized and it's high performance, but it is not so easy to write good code on the top of it. So then later maybe we will speak about something about that. Okay, and then it has a very good module loading system, which allows you to build your modules, and then modules will contain methods, and you can just pick them up with a singleton. Works pretty much good. It's everything basically I personally want from backend technology. Some people are actually looking at me weird when I say that I use JavaScript backend. I say, what? Like, for me, JavaScript works just good. You just must take care of the good things, trying to avoid the bad ones, but this applies to every language. This is my opinion. And then it has a very nice application platform foundation with few lines of code. You already run a server, and I'm not speaking about toy server, I'm speaking about a very good server, like production ready, I would say. Right? Doing like okay, so this is like some kind of personal slide. So why we chose to be in? Well, this describes some reasons. First of all, I work for a very young company, and sometimes customers come to me and they say, I would like to have a system which is like Amazon but works like Facebook and looks a lot like Airbnb. And deadline is in 2 months. So yeah, if you need like speed to market, then this is definitely a stack that you want to check, because you can prototype very fast. And this is also due to the fact that the models, so MongoDB offers schemaless models. Schemaless means that you guys forget about migrations. It means that if you already made your database and the customer forgot about half of the analysis requirements, like it comes to you, you don't have to kill him. Okay, you can bear with him, and the schemaless model provides you a way to still survive and make your customers survive. Maybe, I don't know, maybe if you have questions about something, because here I could deepen a lot, but if you're curious about one of these points, wait. And, oh yeah, this is another reason. Finally, one single programming language to be used. Guys, I'm a full stack developer. I was getting crazy, seriously, with a lot of languages starting from backend to frontend. I totally strived for a solution which is using one single language, and I'm very happy about that. This doesn't mean that you can use this stack for everything, because then we're going to see later, you know, it has pitfalls and disadvantages, but I'm happy with it in 90% of the cases. It has a consistent data representation. It means that you treat data in the same way, starting from the database to the backend and then to the front. So you're speaking about JSON, you're speaking about JavaScript, objects along the whole stack. You never change this representation. Never. This is just great. And then, okay, Joanna, during the introduction, spoke about marriage. Guys, this is really a marriage, but the marriage that is actually working. And when you're using this stack, you totally, I don't know, are kind of amazed by this great synergy. Everything is working with everything. Like, these tools are made to be together. It's very appreciable. It's very nice. And then, performance, last but not least, I already spoke about that. You might want to make some benchmarks. That is surprising. Sometimes I have fun making benchmarks myself. It's just great. Speaking about the organization, this is a complex stack, so it's made of many components. For small projects, it's totally cool. You can kind of put your code wherever you want, everything is going to work. When you start to have big projects, you must keep good organization in your code about the structure, otherwise you end up like this, which is not really nice. There are many generators on the internet. If you want, later I can provide you a list of it. I didn't prepare a slide with it. But every of them suggests a different structure. During the practice session, I'm going to show you a little bit what is, according to me, my structure, which is tested. It was tested in the last 2 years. I find myself good, but I think that this is relative. So what is working for me might not work for you. So, okay, right now we'll dive a little bit into some practice. I prepared the repo, which is very basic. I prepared it some hours ago, so sorry if something will not work. And it will contain the code that now I'm going to show you in a while. And so later, at home, if you want to have some fun, you can just clone it and check it out. I'm going to now present you some, the stack organization, and as I told you, some operations, some resources. Alright. Now we'll bear with this. I actually use this development tool for developing everything. It is cloud developing. Well, that is a nice stack. Okay, it is a cloud computing development environment. I actually find myself very happy with it. Okay, this is not on my laptop, so rearrange a second the windows. I'm sorry for that. Must have predicted it. All right. It's time. Great. So basically, this is the structure of this is how the project looks like in my company. So we have basically two folders, which is client and server, which hosts the code, of course, backend and frontend. Let's dive a little bit in the server side. So there is a main file which is called, I will open it. Yes, I'm sorry, because maybe I should drop the microphone at this stage. Okay, so, okay, I will drop the microphone just a second. Okay, you hear me? Well, much better. Yeah. Okay, great. So basically this is the main file which hosts the code for the server. Zoom it. Yeah. Great. Yes, you know how to make things. Just a second. Huh? Polish keyboard, like. Control plus. Yeah, I was looking for the plus. Okay, so maybe this was not such a great idea. Okay, basically this is the code of the server. We are not going into it right now. You can totally check it out. There are a few lines of code. Basically the only lines you need for starting the server is this one, and you will get already Node up and running, which is nice. Then I prepared some APIs server side, which are these ones. Basically, I created a resource which is called thing, and I created some endpoints for this resource. Thanks to these endpoints, you can perform operations. Of course, you can create a new thing and delete things. You can show all the things or just one thing, and you can update a thing. Okay? I didn't think about anything better than a thing. I'm sorry. So, as I told you, I'm not going to deepen much this code. This is pretty straightforward for people that knows how Node.js works. If you don't, this will more or less look like Aramaic to you, like another language. So when you are at home, you will clone the repo. You will definitely give a look at it. Now I'm going to show you. I'm going to focus more about the front end and AngularJS, on which you are totally more interested in. So we start the server. Wow. Okay, right. This is some kind of example application I prepared very fastly, and basically it allows you to insert something here. This will perform a call to the backend, which in turn will perform a call to the database. We store what you insert, and then everything will be show up under here, and then it gives you the possibility also to delete things. So basically, it's insert, delete, and read inside the database. About the database, I chose to connect to MongoDB. I don't know if you heard about it. It's a cloud computing MongoDB database. And I find myself pretty happy with it. Totally easy to use and to be scaled. Okay, let's open some interesting files. So we move from server to client. We'll open index. Screen is very small, sorry, and it's hard to show everything. We'll open main. Okay, this is more or less how I organize my project. So I have in the root folder index, then I like to have a folder which is called app, in which I put, of course, all the data. I separate this folder from the assets, which contain fonts and images usually, or just some documents, and I I use a component folder for all the modules that you're going to use inside your project. So, I don't know, modals, navbars, thumbnails, and other stuff like this. I prefer to keep everything divided, so you know it's handy to be found. About the application, every single view has got a folder. This is a project with one single view, with one main view. Of course, it has its folder, and inside you can find the file that contains the routing setting, which is this one. For this project, I used the UI router, and then there is a controller, which is this one, and so far just in its this array. And then there is service, which is where we are going now to work, basically. What I'm going to do right now is create some let's say methods for interfacing AngularJS with the endpoints that we have backend sides. So remember that backend sides we have these endpoints that allows you to manipulate things. Okay, now we are gonna create something that we connect all this. So okay. This is going to be painful for the keyboard. So we're going to inject the resource. Of course, you can do this also with the HTTP module, but I'm okay with resource. Actually, I'm using this in my project. I'm so happy. Okay, then we're going to instantiate it. Sorry. I'm Italian, I usually use an English keyboard, and this is Polish, so... Okay. Okay. So far, I think that you all know what I'm doing. I'm creating a resource. Okay, so let's create the first method, which is, I don't know, we can call it like, okay, all, which would be a function, which takes, let's say, callback, and, okay, what I just did right now is like make sure that if you don't pass callback to this function, then nothing very bad will happen. So, oh gosh, sorry. This is the API. I'm gonna copy it here. Work with promises. You usually use promises in your projects. You know what promises are? Yes? Not everybody is cool with that, so that's why we're going to provide also an alternative method to call this function even without parameters. Yeah, I think that we're going to make just a few examples about that, otherwise it's going to take a lifetime. I didn't plan to be so slow on keyboard. Okay. Cool. Now something is, in case something goes bad here. Okay. Great. Okay, so here I'm going to define call. It's an object. It's a method, which is get. And we make sure that the result will be an array. Cool. I survived it. So basically how I organize my things are like I divide services in logic and API because I don't want to share, of course, the logic to everybody. Then the API, of course, are using the logic for providing data. Okay, if something is not clear at this stage, still wait or make questions. Alright, so I save it. We go now into the controller. And here I'm going to inject my thing. Right? And then I'm going to use it, of course. So it's very easy to do things with code. And then I'm going to use promises. Works. So basically, I'm going to show you a little bit better the code, which is, okay, this is the service. So as I told you, I usually delegate everything that concerns the dialogue with backend inside the service. Of course, services are made for that. Then I have a logic, which defines all the methods, which correspond to the endpoints on the server. And then I create an API, also front-end, because I like to reason always at the same way. So if I have an API with endpoints, backend, it's very nice and cool to have API